We riding, sliding across the globe with beats so smooth where everything flows. Let's take to the air, got an AI compass. Funk it up, every step we take it makes us whole. Oh yeah, passport stamp. Yeah,
Welcome to the AI Compass podcast for travel leaders. I'm Jason Halberstadt.
Jason Elkins, welcome back.
Great. Today we're going to talk about a bit of a unique study that we've recently done. Over this last year, I've been talking with probably about 40 or so different CEOs and owners of travel companies, and we've about AI, about what's happening with their company and AI. And also we've had about 60 or so companies that have come in and talked with our AI assistant that essentially holds a conversation as well about how people, owners of travel companies and executives are using AI and the different challenges that they see ahead. And so really, so what I did then is I took the transcripts from all those meetings and the chats, put them into one big chat session in Google Gemini, which can handle almost like 1 million words, and then put that into a chat window and started asking questions about it. Like, what are the most common problems that the travel companies have today that AI may be able to solve? And so actually the number one that the AI identified, the number one problem is AI, actually Gemini came up with this term called Frankenstack. So what is a Frankenstack? I don't know. Jason, you want to start me? What?
So Frankenstack, we were chatting about this before, and I said, geez, Jason, did you come up with that term? And you said, well, no, Google Gemini did. So that was nice of you to give it credit. But I thought it was great because I was like, well, what is this? What does this mean? And I think you were describing it as like someone, maybe starts their tour operation company and someone comes along and sells them a website. Well, you got to have a website. So maybe they get a Wix website or a Weebly website or whatever. And then someone else comes along, well, you need a reservation system. So here's the one we sell. And well, you need some email marketing. You need some this, you need some that. And before you know it, you've got 15 different monthly payments that you're sending off for these different services. And then someone comes along and says, oh, we need to take Zapier to make it all work together. And it's like, it just, putting all these pieces parts together. And I know you've been dealing with this for a long time. And we were discussing how maybe someone comes to you and says, we've got this here, this there, this, that. And you're like, well, maybe we just need to start over from scratch. So that's what Stack is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually from analyzing all of these conversations, actually the conclusion was that either people have this Frankenstack that's, just kind of put together over time, or a lot of times people are just starting over. Or starting from zero. A lot of companies, or actually, potential companies, even, people just thinking about starting a travel agency or a tour operator have thought, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it from the beginning, starting with AI. But most of the companies have this problem of the Frankenstack. And so it causes all kinds of problems. I mean, just think of, a typical sale of a tour package wherever we have, a request coming in from the website. You have to do follow-up with email, maybe by WhatsApp. You have to go into your itinerary builder to make them an itinerary. You have to copy and paste that into the email. And so
PayPal to actually pay the payment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you've got all these different systems where your team is essentially doing busy work, doing copy paste from this system to that system, and keeping track of everything that's going on, because everything is disparate and desperate and in different systems, different databases. And so really AI actually has the potential to be a solution to the Frankenstack.
I'm super excited to get into that because, all of these different systems are saying AI. WhatsApp has an AI, element to it. A lot of these different systems that people have in their Frankenstack are talking about AI. Oh, I'm excited to hear you share with us, how do we use AI without just thinking, well, yeah, I am using AI. Every system I have is using some sort of AI, but how do we use AI to bring it together so it's um, more, I don't know, what was the word you just used? Just bring it all together, right? Bring it all together for us.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, so AI has this amazing ability to say, like, read through a story. Yeah, for example, an interaction of a customer and your sales team, or customer and AI, and understand, the needs of that person, and if the AI is connected, say, to your product catalog, yeah, then it can actually pull, the trips that that person may be interested in from, doing a conversational interview. Hi, I'm Bob from Boston, and I wanted to go to Colombia for a week. And so if you have this entire story, of the history of the client in one place, you could say, AI, here's the story. AI is really amazing at, like, predicting the next token. What are the next things that the person may want to do, that they need to do in order to purchase your product, or to, get ready for their trip, etc. So, uh, how do you get all this information from WhatsApp, from your booking system, from your email, from your SMS? How do you get this all into one place? Yeah, that's actually is, I think, for most companies, that is the biggest challenge of implementing, especially kind of medium and larger size companies. If you don't have your data in order, if AI doesn't have access to the story that they can put together from all these different pieces, then it's not going to work very well. And so, yeah, that is the major challenge. And the way that you can do it using AI, it used to be really, really expensive, and you have to have, data consultants and chief information officers involved in, getting data in order. But nowadays, with AI, there are a lot of techniques, and even, like, some new standards. For example, one that came out recently is called the MCP, or the Model Context Protocol. Yeah, and so what Model Context Protocol is, it's like a standard. Sorry, it's getting a little bit techie here, but it tells um, different systems of how they should talk with each other. Yeah. So you could have your booking system over here saying, hey, I can take reservations, I can cancel reservations, I can change reservations, and here's, the list of things that I can do, and kind of instructions of how to make the integration. I know that's kind of really
Well,
technical, and maybe kind of, but
I'm curious because we've got another term called the API, like to get systems to work together. So an API, you could explain it much better than I could, I'm sure. But what I'm hearing, what I'm trying to boil this down to, is like, if each system has kind of an owner's manual that can be the other systems, it's written in the same language. So if you've got 10 systems out there and they all have their own owner's manual written in the same language, then system number 7 can go to system number 3 and say, oh, I see what you do. This is what I do. Let's do this together. And
you got it.
is that it?
That's exactly it.
All right.
That's exactly it. Yeah, and so you mentioned APIs, and so that is technically, like, the way that, systems interchange information. But yeah, there's these new AIs. Yeah, like you said, we have, like, an instruction manual of here's how you make a booking, here's how you cancel a booking. But technically, of these are API calls with code. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So if you've got these different systems, like you mentioned it used to be very expensive because, it was a major, their database administrator was a job, right? I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but it sounds like it. So if you're a database administrator, your job is to make sure that all the information that you have available on your different clients, your vendors, all that stuff is in one place. It's not getting duplicated or deleted or whatever. But now what I hear you saying is with AI that got easier, but it's still a challenge. So how do we help how do we help the person that has 5 or 6 different platforms that aren't really talking to each other?
Yeah. Well, actually, uh, soon we'll be launching the next version of our platform, which is actually designed to do just that.
Wow, it's like we did.
Yeah.
How convenient.
How convenient.
I did not know you were going to answer that way. But it makes sense. That's what we're here to help. So what is that? What should, whether it's, your platform or a platform in general, how does that work without going into too much tech jargon?
Yeah. Um, yeah, you have to have basically similar to like a database administrator, somebody that really knows what information, where it is in your systems, and also kind of how that all connects together in the flow of the customer journey. You know, and so need to know that once they have a conversation with a chatbot on the website, then it goes into email to the salesperson. It goes to the CRM, and then and actually the CRMs end up being quite key in this. But actually, the product we're coming out with soon is a basic CRM, but it also can sit
Jason,
beside
just for anybody that's listening that's not sure, what is a CRM?
Oh, yes, customer relationship management system. Yeah, and
So
so that
it's a
helps.
database, right? I mean, a CRM. I mean, I know what it is, but I want to make sure that our listeners are comfortable with it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a database where you keep all your customer information and your customer history. Yeah, and so that one, an obvious place to have like your central kind of history or transcripts of all of your customer stories is in a CRM.
Or it should be.
It should be, yeah, and so
That's where we run into what you were discussing, where you may are having conversations on WhatsApp that's not tied to your CRM, or you've got a MailChimp or an email system sending out marketing emails. And I've seen some clients even that are using their email marketing systems kind of to try and manage their client relationships and conversations. So it can, okay. But where I was going with this is you said it takes somebody kind of like a database manager does this, if you've got a client that's got this scenario going on, they've got stuff kind of spread all around, and you mentioned there's a new platform coming out that you'll be able to help them. Does that require an interview with a human person that kind of understands how all these things are talking and then they interact with AI to make this work? Or is AI able to go look at your whole system and figure it out?
that's a great question. It is a little bit of both. But really, at the very beginning, it really takes a human that understands that, customer information, this type is in the CRM, the booking information's here, their itinerary is in this other system. And so, you definitely need some human guidance at the beginning. Yeah, AI can also help with that. For example, we have a technique for kind of reverse engineering processes where, for example, you can take your um, 10 successful sales or successful clients. They're happy about the pre-sale sales during the trip and after the trip, and you can analyze the history of those conversations.
Is that
And
to create kind of a benchmark, right? It's like these 10 went well. So let's figure out what was consistent across the board and use that as our benchmark. Is that why you say 10 that went well?
You can use them as examples of this is an example of a good introductory email, and this is a good example of an itinerary that was personalized for that person that got a good reaction. but it also, you can also even like mm, reverse engineer processes, and you and yeah, and so you can follow the customer through their entire journey and identify, okay, in this step, we needed to talk with the booking engine. And in the initial follow-up email, we needed to connect with the itinerary building system. And yeah. And so amazing. You can actually analyze real cases where that it's written, an email is usually the best place. Um, and yeah, and from that, you can really map out where your data is coming from and the entire process. And then with that information, give your AI agents instructions to how to handle each different stage and each different system that they're interacting with.
And I suspect it's not just, okay, AI, here's the process. Help us make sure that the process is documented and automated, but it's also, what are we missing? I would
Yeah.
think it was a huge part of it because I think, I've had a lot of conversations with tour operators and if you start with, okay, well, where does your typical lead come in? Well, they come in through my website or they come in through an OTA. Okay, great. What happens when, what does that look like on the website? And it might be, well, we've got a form, they filled out a form on the website. Okay, then what happens? Well, it gets assigned to someone on our team. So they kind of know the process, but they might be missing the part. Like the real answer when I say, okay, well, what happens when they fill out the form is hopefully they get some sort of automation or an email that at least goes to them and acknowledges that they filled out a form. And I'm not suggesting forms are the way to go. That's a whole different conversation. But there's steps in the process. Or, well, what happens when they get home from the trip? Well, we send them an email with a link to TripAdvisor. Okay, well, did you make sure they had a good time before you did that?
Yeah. Yeah.
That might be why your TripAdvisor reviews are not so great, right? So, maybe make sure they had a good time before you ask them for the review. But anyway, so that's kind of what we're talking, an opportunity to figure out, well, what are we missing in the process? And AI maybe can help you see your blind spots that you don't see.
Yeah, and it can also do a type of quality control as well. For example, yeah, your TripAdvisor reviews are bad. Maybe your person that's listened to the reviews didn't see if they had a good time before. Or we kind of discovered the other day in a client that analyzing their emails, that their kind of documentation, their templates they had for their emails was kind of using jargon that travelers are not going to understand, and so you can actually use AI for quality control like that.
I suspect because you know the term, I'm sure, but something about capturing the sentiment of people and messaging. And if you are having maybe you do a video Zoom consult call before during the booking process, and the person that you're having a conversation with is completely fine with you recording it, to help you make sure you get all the details right and all that stuff. And maybe at the end of the call, the person's like, well, you know what? I need to talk to my wife. I need to talk to my husband. I'm not really sure, what we're going to do. And that's the end of the call. Now you've got this resource. I don't know, this may be a little off topic, but the point being that, or email correspondence with somebody, maybe they get back from the trip and they send you an email and everything was great except for, and you're like, are they happy or not? I can't tell. So the AI can help with all that stuff as well, right?
Yeah, and it can also help with all of the details that will decide whether the person's going to be happy with their trip or not.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, if there was like, an independent WhatsApp message that says, yeah, I'm allergic to whatever, and that detail got forgotten.
It didn't
You
end up
get
in that didn't end up in the CRM, so it didn't end up on the manifest that went to the supplier. And I mean, I think anybody listening to this is like, oh yeah, that's happened.
Yeah. No, and so AI is definitely a way. And once you have your data in order, where you have access to the WhatsApp and to the booking system, then yeah, to bring that into one place and to have AI say, "Hey, revise this history. Give me maybe a summary of the different things like allergies and medical conditions or physical limitations," and so yeah, you can. It's an amazing tool for the
What does
quality
this look like?
during the call.
What does this look like for the operator that's listening to this? If they're like fully on board and they've got all their stuff talking and using AI, is it kind of, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but here's what I'm imagining. Like, we know the chatbots. You guys do a lot of chatbots for your clients that are great. But what we're talking about is not just the chatbot. The chatbot is just one avenue of communication with the client, but maybe not. So when I say the client, the traveler, because, but could the tour operator actually, I don't know. Here's what I'm envisioning. Tour operator goes on his own website, her own website. There's a chatbot down in the right hand corner that normally engages with visitors to the website. But you know what? I'm the owner of the company and I'm logged in somehow, whatever. The chatbot knows it's me.
Yeah.
So can I just jump into my website real quick and say, hey, just want to check how many people we have going out on Friday or whatever. So I've got one interface that I don't have to log into 14 different places. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes,
Is it?
absolutely.
All right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool.
Not necessarily. Then maybe it's not the same, chat interface that you go in with your clients, because you probably need a username and password to make sure everything is secure. No, so yeah, you have a secure page, and then when you have systems connected by AI, you can literally have a conversation with them. You can ask,
How
uh,
are things going? How are the guests doing?
well, yeah,
Right? In a sense.
all
Yeah.
my guests that I have on trips right now, how are they doing?
I mean, as a tour operator, any tour operator listening to this right now, can you imagine? Because I know on the weekends we worry about, geez, is anybody lost? Did all the transfers happen? Did the guides show up? And wouldn't it be cool if you had all of your stuff tied together and you could go in on Friday and say, hey, getting ready to leave for the weekend. I'm going to be away. What's happening this weekend? What are the most likely scenarios of things going wrong? And they can come back and say, you know what? Everything's good. We've already confirmed with da 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 da, whatever it is. And I mean, that's pretty cool that we didn't have for a long time.
Absolutely.
Am I overselling this though, Jason?
No, no, I think,
Because I'm getting excited.
yeah, no, there's like this idea of a concierge, that an AI concierge where they understand the people's needs and their wants, and can actually kind of follow through, like the customer history we're talking about, the entire transcript, make sure that every uh, T is crossed, every I is dotted, and every single detail is taken care of. It's like somebody kind of looking over their shoulder to make sure that everything is okay at every step along the journey, from the first contact until they go home and write that TripAdvisor review.
Or the email that comes in over the weekend or whatever, that maybe it's a client from that just returned or is getting ready to go. And the system, everybody has email. We all know how to set up email notifications, and we all know how to ignore them as well. Probably, you know, because your inbox gets so full. But if you've got AI kind of monitoring things and it's able to tell the sentiment of an email that says, hey, we just got back from our trip. It was pretty good, da 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 da. And the system can say, hey, Jason, either Jason or Jason, this client that is just on this really big trip, luxury trip, sent in an email over the weekend, and this kind of, it sounds like maybe you need to reach out to this person, and it can flag it for you and say, okay, as opposed to the other person who's like, wow, we just got back. It's amazing. I'll send you photos on Monday, you know, and one of those you need to see, and one of those can probably wait till Monday.
Yeah, I think one of the most compelling things about AI assistants is that they can work 24/7. You know, uh, it's people nowadays are not going to wait for your 3-day weekend or even your 2-day weekend for you to get back with them about, a potential sale. And if there is an emergency, absolutely. I mean, most companies frequently they'll have an emergency number. No, if it's like a real emergency, usually for people on the ground. Uh, but yeah, you can have an AI say, if it's after hours, then if there's something from the sentiment of the email or for the WhatsApp, if it seems like it's important or it could be considered an emergency or urgent, then escalate that and send it via WhatsApp to an agent on their personal phone so they can deal with it on the weekend.
And it's such a better guest experience as well, because I think anybody that's been around this business for a while probably travels as well. And I know that when I get someplace and the key isn't where it was supposed to be, or the transfer driver didn't show up or whatever, and I've got this emergency number of the person that booked the trip for me or someone on their team, and I call them on a Friday night at 1 a.m, and I get a voicemail, I don't feel real confident that it's going to get resolved. Whether that person's going to get the message 2 minutes from now or not, there's that doubt. And if I call and I get an AI agent that I can kind of have a conversation with, and that AI agent is okay, yep, I got it completely. Understand the situation. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to resolve this now. I'm going to call the operator that should have picked you up, or I'm going to notify the whatever. Just give me some sense of, when I hang up this phone, what should I expect to happen next? Because that's a huge thing. That's, anybody that's ever been stranded, like oh, I left a message. That's all I could do. So it's that type of stuff. What else did you want to touch on in this before we wrap up? Because I'm not sure we stayed on task completely. What do you think? What's important for our listeners to know before we go?
Gosh, yeah. I guess really, the first step to having, an AI that can help you really manage multiple aspects of your business. One of the first steps is getting your data and your systems in order. Yeah. So the AI can have access to it.
So is that something somebody needs to do before they reach out to someone like yourself? So when you say get your data in order, that could sound overwhelming to most people.
Yeah.
Can you help them figure, if they reach out and book a free call with you, can you at least give them an idea of what that means? Because I don't think we have enough time in an episode to cover it, even in a whole episode, but a face-to-face, because every situation's different, right?
Yeah. And most companies that have a Frankenstack kind of need somebody to help manage the Frankenstack. They need a tech person who is going to hopefully know where things are at. If they don't, then that's a problem. But
I know a few that don't. I've filled that role a few times, so I know that there's a few that do as well. So anyway, so it sounds like if you're thinking about how do I get AI, there's a couple things you can do. Keep listening to this podcast. Click on the link in the show notes. Go read the blog about this and other stuff, and then maybe book a call with someone like yourself, someone on your team to kind of like, okay, here's my Frankenstack. Here's my list.
Yeah.
Jason, can you help? Or do I need to shoot the thing and, bury it and start from scratch or whatever? Because that would be helpful.
Yeah. No. In most cases, Frankenstacks can be fixed.
All
right. But in some situations, you may want to start over in certain aspects.
Start over.
If it's your Frankenstein's too ugly and patched together, then yeah, that's always an option.
So listeners, click the link, go talk to Jason about your Frankenstack. And if anybody can help you with the Frankenstack, I think it's him. He came up with the word. I'm pretty sure he did. Even if he used some AI to suggest it. So
no, Gemini definitely gets credit for the Frankenstack title. All right. Great. Thanks a lot, Jason.
Thanks, Jason. Everybody, we'll see you back here, or you'll hear us back here same time probably next week. So look forward to having y'all back. Thanks.
We riding slide.